This video is all about managing leads if you're a team leader. Now, if you're a single agent and you're looking to grow and scale your business, it would behoove you to really understand these topics as it relates to team leader because it'll better help you manage yourself. So take a look at this. Let me know what questions you have because I know this can be a really hot topic for people. And I've seen a lot of real estate teams thrive when they get this right and also really suffer and not actually grow like they could because they don't have their lead management policy set up correctly. So take a look, and at the end, I'm going to recommend my #1 book that you have to read with your team in order to be effective at working your leads. All right, welcome back. Let's talk about leads. If you're a true salesperson, you love leads. I know I do, and we can fall into these traps with leads where we're just like collecting these things and we're just like, oh, we got leads coming in. But what I really want to talk to you about is how to be effective from a sales perspective with your leads. And the #1 thing that you have to remember when generating leads for your team is that you need to protect the lead source. Too often I find that people are generating a ton of leads, but they don't know where they're coming from. And they're just kind of like all coming in and everybody's working them, but nobody's being effective and nobody's really tracking the source. And when we don't track the source, a couple things happen. #1, as the owner or team leader of your company, you can't make good decisions moving forward on where to invest properly to, really focus on the leads that are giving you the highest return. If you're not tracking the sources, you don't know how effective you're being, period. So it's really, really important that you're tracking the source for that reason, but also you need to track the source because ultimately the reason that you have a team and you have people join your company is because of the opportunities you provide. And if you can't track the source, you can't track how much business is coming from the efforts that you're providing for them, the opportunities that you're giving them. So I know in my company, typically 80% of all the business that every agent does year after year after year comes from the company's lead generation sources. So if we didn't track that, an agent might come to us and say, well, I've been here a few years and I've been doing this and I've been closing a lot of deals and I think I'm worth more, or I think I deserve this. And all that would be warranted. I mean, a lot of times we have agents that are doing an amazing job. But when you track the source and you can go back and say, I really appreciate the work that you've been doing and I don't take it for granted, but I also realize the value that we're bringing to this relationship as well, because 85% of your business that you did last year came directly from the company. So while I completely appreciate and honor the work that you're doing and how successful you've been, I'm also very honored and humbled by the fact that we can help you do that with all the opportunities that we're providing for you. You see, the conversation changes when you can point directly to the opportunities that you're responsible for. And I think if you're not doing that, you're gonna have a very hard time of retaining your talent and, offering a compelling opportunity to your people. So really, really important. When we get into leads, don't worry about how many you're getting if you're not tracking the source. The #1 thing to do with leads is be able to track the source coming in. So once you have the leads coming in, the next question is we really need to determine how the lead flow or routing is gonna work. And we need to understand, okay, we have all these leads coming in. Now, how are they gonna get dispersed so that there's maximum efficiency and we're not burning through those leads? Then we need to determine what's the lead volume gonna be? Is there a limit to it? Sometimes we can be generating so many leads that we're actually hurting our agents and their opportunities, because sometimes too much of a good thing is not a good thing. And we need to understand lead volume and the limits that we need to put on there. We're gonna talk about that. We also need to determine lead handling. So what is the frequency of follow-up with these leads to have maximum efficiency of converting them? And then determine lead communication methods. So how are we gonna communicate with them? So what I say when it comes to lead volume is that agents can typically handle 30 to 50 new leads per month before follow-up quality diminishes. And we've tried this and tested this and tracked this both with new agents, experienced agents, agents that were top producers, agents that were lower producers, and we still found that this range of 30 to 50, and the range is really gonna determine, be dependent on the quality and the lead source. So in my company, we get leads coming in from a variety of different sources. So if they were all one specific source, it might be more specific number, but generally speaking, month in and month out, somewhere in that 30 to 50 range is where they tend to convert and do the most amount of business. It's interesting because if an agent starts getting 75 leads a month, we actually see that their production goes down, which doesn't make sense on first hand. You're like, how is that possible? They're getting more leads. Why would production go down? And what we've come to find out is when they get more than 50 leads a month, they don't treat every lead with the same thoroughness when it comes to following up, and therefore they get a lower result across all of their leads. So really interesting stuff. You've got to have policies and procedures that reflect your approved lead volumes. So if we're going to say, okay, 30 to 50 leads is the range that we're shooting for, make sure that you include that in your policies and procedures so that they know what the expectation is up front. And then we also do an opportunity time structure. And I really like the opportunity time structure because it allows us as a company to channel all the leads to one specific agent during that time. So it creates an amazing opportunity for that agent and also helps us deliver on these 30 to 50 leads per month that we're providing each agent. And I really would encourage you to have some kind of an opportunity time in place, because when a lead comes in, sometimes we have opportunity time where it's specific. Hold on one second. That just happened. Got a phone call. Thought it was on Do Not Disturb, but we're going to play right through that. So when you have the opportunity time, instead of leads just coming in and going to everybody at once, which we do at certain times as well, we like to do that during business hours, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. But on opportunity time, specific time, what we found is that when everybody's accountable, nobody really is accountable. So if I have the leads come in round robin at dinner time or in the evening, everybody's kind of like, oh, well, somebody else will grab that. And because no one person is specifically accountable, nobody becomes accountable to those leads and they get dropped. But with an opportunity time structure, you're scheduling that for the agent. And maybe it's once a week or a few times a month where they're responsible for that chunk of time. And then they're the only one that's responsible because they're the only one that's accountable. So the chances are that those leads and that speed to lead and the quality of conversion goes up during those times. So really consider an opportunity time structure for your people. And you must create a lead management policy to provide the clarity and the expectations of what you expect to happen with these leads. And we're going to go into more detail on that and the accountability component, and I'll share our copy of our lead management policy with you in there. But for right now, what I want you to be thinking about is this. What is your process for routing leads? Do you have a process right now? And if you don't, how can you put one in place? So what's your process going to look like? And do you have a limit for the number of leads an agent receives? Do your agents understand that sometimes getting too much of a good thing is not a good thing? These are all things that need to be communicated, and at what frequency are they required to follow up with them? Again, you're going to put this into your lead management policy and explain, hey, I require that these leads are attempted this many times, that we follow up through these methods. And then what is the number one thing that you can improve from a lead management standpoint? So this is not agent accountability right now. You think about all the leads that you have coming into your company, what you're doing to provide leads, how you're routing those leads, and what your expectations are that you've set for your company on how to deal with those leads. So what is the thing that you can do right now to improve the lead quality and the lead management in your company from a sales perspective so that the best practices and follow-up procedures are in place and that you're sourcing you're tracking the sources of the leads and distributing them in the most efficient and profitable manner? What can you do in that area? Think about that and answer these questions before you move on to the next step. All right, if there's any pieces of that you don't have in place, get that done today. Like really look at what you have going on when it comes to leads and how you're managing those leads and actually fill in those holes in your boat. Because I promise you, if you want to scale and you want to go bigger next year, there's something in this process that you either don't have dialed in or you're missing completely. And now my number one book that I recommend when it comes to leads and how we approach leads and what our mindset is around leads is Fanatical Prospecting by Jeb Blount. I highly recommend that you read it with your team and you read it at least once a year where you actually go through the material together and recalibrate your mindset toward these leads and how you have to work them. It'll really help you guys get a jumpstart on the year before your season picks up, and it'll set the principles and practices that need to be adhered to in order to have success when working leads.